You're listening to The Wells Report, which will return in 1 minute. The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion. Yours and mine, equally valuable. Let's compare, let's debate. Agreement is not necessary on this broadcast. I need to hear from you. I need to hear what you think, even if you think I'm wrong. I got to hear this. It's not so much me. It's for everybody that watches this broadcast, and there are a lot of them, and it's growing, and for good reason, because you get real news here. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. Tonight is the night. Kamala Harris has already sat down with Dana Bash from CNN, and she has done this interview that's going to air tonight in the Central Time Zone at 8 p.m. It's going to be 9 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone, and we've got little fragments of it and so on and so on. Since the interview has not actually aired yet, there is still some opining going on regarding the strength of the interview from a standpoint of, why is Tim Walz there? And other things, and we'll be talking about that as time goes by. In the meantime, I have a question. What do you hope Kamala Harris says? What do you hope she says? What do you hope she brings to the 2024 election? 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. Let's start with CNN. From Savannah, Georgia, Vice President Kamala Harris today offered her most expansive explanation to date on why she's changed some of her positions on fracking, immigration, etc., telling CNN's Dana Bash that her values haven't shifted, but as she has been vice president, it's provided new perspective on some of the country's most pressing issues. In the CNN exclusive sit-down interview, Harris said she would name a Republican to serve in her cabinet if elected. She didn't say which Republican or in which cabinet post. She brushed off her rival's questioning of her racial identity, dismissing Donald Trump's suggestion as she happened to turn black as the, quote, same old tired playbook. Pressed on Bash about her reversals on fracking and decriminalization of illegal border crossings, Harris sought to explain why her positions had changed. And we have this snippet, and I want to share it with you here on the Wells Report. This is Kamala Harris with a mute Tim Walz sitting there while Dana Bash talks to her a little bit about her position switching in the 2024 election.
How should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
So that was a mistake. Her values have not changed. Does that mean everything that she has said up to this point is still viable? If they're not viable, then she's making a big deal out of the fact that her values haven't changed, but her policies have. How do you enact a policy without believing in it? That's a bad mistake, at least so far. And I'm not trying to throw cold water or shade on the interview. I haven't seen it. That's all we have. That's all we have. All I'm trying to point out is that that's a tactical error. From a politics standpoint, she just opened the door for everything that she has said up to this point. Now, that may be on purpose. She may believe that that's probably the best way to deal with all of these position reversals. But to try to parse the difference between her values and her policies, I don't see how that's going to, in the question by Dana Bash, I don't see how that's going to make people feel better about her policies. So she's going to enact policies that are contrary to her values? Do you really want somebody running the country that is going to enact policies counter to their values? That's just that was the first thing I saw. When I saw that, I'm going, I can't believe she did that. I can't believe it. So what do you think? 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. Like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade on the vice president. At least she sat down for an interview. It was over a month before she did it. I'm glad she did it. I'm glad it's out there. It's a great conversation starter. And you see, my values are the same and my policies are the same. My values are bringing you truth and cogent opinion, but that's not news. The news is that her values haven't shifted, but her policies have. And I almost decided not to say something about it, but then I realized, no, wait a minute, that is an essential part of this conversation. And so that's why I bring this up. Continuing with the article, she brushed off her rivals' questioning of her racial identity, same old playbook, et cetera, et cetera. The joint interview in Savannah, Georgia, with her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, their first since becoming the Democrat presidential ticket, provided one of the clearest looks into Harris's positions and her plans for the presidency. How should voters look at some of the changes you've made, Bash asked Harris. Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? That is what they call a leading question. That's a leading question. And she was right there ready with, hey, my values haven't changed, but I have learned some things since I've been vice president. Okay, is this an interview or is this a choreographed tennis match? Again, this is something I think you need to know. Should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward? Harris said despite the shifts in positions, her values have not changed. And you heard her say that during a September 2019 climate crisis town hall hosted by CNN. Harris was asked if she would commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking her first day in office. This is what she said, quote, "There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands." That's what she said at the time. By the time she had become Joe Biden's running mate, she had moved away from that stance and even cast the tie-breaking vote to expand fracking leases, as she noted to Bash. Today, Harris pointed to the Biden administration's Inflation Reduction Act. You saw her just do that, providing record investments in combating climate change as an example of her climate record. We've set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. As an example, that value has not changed. See, I'm going back to this original question here. Let's see here. Let me go back to the original question. How should voters look? No, hang on. Let me see if I can get that original question. Well, I can just play it again here. Let's listen to this. Just a quick second here. Let me play this one more time. This is going to be on audio here. Listen.
How should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Okay, so that was the question. And the response brought up something that was non sequitur. Listen carefully.
Dan, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal.
You mentioned the Green New Deal. Now, that may have happened earlier in the interview, but in the question, Dana Bash did not mention the Green New Deal. Now, we can all find out later just exactly what happened there. As we watch the entire interview, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time on CNN, we can find out if before that moment of the video that they talked about the Green New Deal. If she didn't talk about the Green New Deal before that point in the interview, that sort of makes you wonder just exactly whether there was an edit or whether there was some prearranged idea as to what that question was going to be about. Or there was a prearranged, and more likely, there was a prearranged answer. Now, we don't know anything about this interview. We don't know whether the questions were provided ahead of time. A lot of people want the questions ahead of time. We don't know whether that happened or not. And it's really not important. The question is Kamala Harris going to be prepared for an off-the-wall question about a very important subject? Is she going to be able to answer that? Does she have the mental agility to be able to immediately discuss whatever's being asked of her? And if she doesn't, is it because she's just slow? No, she's not slow. It's because she's coming up with an answer that is not the way she believes. In other words, when you tell the truth, it just comes out. It just comes out. But if you're trying to say the right thing, you struggle. So if indeed there was no discussion of the Green New Deal prior to that point in the interview, once again, she had a canned answer all ready to go regarding this. And if she had said, instead of you brought up the Green New Deal, if she had said, take the Green New Deal, for instance, which is probably the way she should have answered it. I'm surprised that since this interview was pre-taped, they didn't see that. That was the first thing I thought of. So what do you want Kamala Harris to say? What do you want? What do you hope she says? What do you hope she doesn't say? 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. There are a lot of other people that are weighing in. There's some op-ed pieces that I want to share with you, a couple from the same person, but talking about different things. And that is Chris Brennan from USA Today. Also, Kamala Harris is defending the duet interview, and we'll have nuts and bolts as to exactly where you can watch the interview tonight, should you care to. Again, our telephone number is 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. The Wells Report on between 5 and 7 p.m. Central Time today. This will be the time for Fishing Shirt Friday tomorrow. I will see you at this exact same time because life is getting in the way. My day job requires me to work from 5 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. Oh, this is the Wells Report. Stick around. We'll have more coming up in just a couple of moments for this Thursday afternoon.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. I've got to cough for just a couple of moments. Sorry. It's one of those things. So there are a couple of different things coming up here. There's a story out today that talks a little bit about Kamala Harris and some statements that she made in the past, which are now, according to her, since her values have not changed, now fair game. Like I said, in my humble opinion, that was a mistake. Loved ones of students killed in school shootings slammed Vice President Kamala Harris after unearthed comments from 2019 surfaced this week, detailing that Harris supports removing police officers from schools. My brother was killed in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting because of liberal policies like the one that Kamala is pushing here. I wish there had been a police officer there to protect him. Students need more protection, not less. said school safety advocate J.T. Lewis, posting on X. Lewis's younger brother, 6-year-old Jesse Lewis, was killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut that left 26 children and staffers dead. That's one of the things that is going on there. And those haunting comments, that's just the first of them. They're all over the place. And like I said, her values haven't changed. So she is either going to get elected to the presidency and enact her values, or she's going to get into the presidency and enact things that are contrary to her values. Okay, so everybody talks about how Donald Trump is not the most graceful of politicians, and they are right. They are absolutely correct. But that statement by the vice president is nearly indefensible. And I've talked about this. I talked about this with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. There were things in the past that were going to show up that he said that were that were damaging to his campaign. Same thing with Kamala Harris. And this is just the first one. Now, I've also talked on this broadcast about political grenades and the fragments. This is one of those. Okay? This is one of those. Outraged parents saying that their kids aren't safe. And outraged parents because their children were killed in a school. Decrying the fact, as a matter of fact, in the article it says sickening. Sickened by the fact that there is not enough proper protection for our kids. And that's true. That's true. Those kids ought to be more protected than they are. And there are ways to do it. And when you start thinking about Sandy Hook and you start thinking about all these other ones, well, there was just plain, especially the one down in Texas. There were violations of policies to keep kids safe that allowed gunmen to get into the schools. And what is also equally sickening to me is that Joe Biden put a policy out there that said you could not bring a weapon within 200 feet of a school, or is it 2,000 feet of a school? I think it's 2,000 feet of a school. Well, you know what? Criminals don't care about that. People who want to kill kids, they just don't care about that. Most of them think they're going to get shot anyway, so what the hell? What are you saying, John David? There should be guns in schools? Yeah, carried by the teachers. Or carried by the teachers who want to. And oh, by the way, if teachers don't want to carry a gun, I'm fine with that. Carry a first aid kit. Yeah, carry a first aid kit and get some real training on how to treat a gunshot wound. That's how you protect your kids. And I keep saying time and time and time again, as soon as one of these people gets blown away in a school, and by the way, that happened too. As soon as one of these people gets blown away in the school, word will get around. They'll stop it, especially if it happens more than once. But these are fragments. And do they add up to a serious wound from a political standpoint? Don't know. Don't know. I'm just bringing you my observations. Do with them as you choose. Comment as you will. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. This is The Wells Report. We continue next.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. See, I normally do this show from 11 to 1 p.m., 11 in the morning until 1 p.m. But we're doing it between 5 and 7 in the evening, insofar as my life is interfering with this broadcast. That's the way it goes. I got a day job. I need one. But if you'd like to support the broadcast financially, you sure can. There are two ways. One, contact the advertisers you see on this broadcast. If and only if they can help you with something, get a good price on something. Please do, because I get paid every time you call. So please, by all means, if these advertisers can help you with a better price on something, then by all means, give them a call. The other way you can do it is you go to patreon.com/The Wells Report. Patreon, Patreon patreon.com/The Wells Report. Give us a couple of bucks every month. It's fine. That's all you need to do. If everybody watching this broadcast would do that, then I might not necessarily have to work so hard at making a living while I do the broadcast. So Vice President Kamala Harris will appear on CNN tonight in a pre-taped interview, and ostensibly edited interview. You can't think that it isn't. Although it's going to be edited. They always do that for time or what have you. And it's the what have you part that concerns me. But it's a pre-taped interview. At least it's something. I have been looking forward to Kamala Harris talking about her policies. And from what we understand, she does. So it is worth your time. Now, she is getting criticism for not formally sitting down with the press alone. She's facing new backlash, in fact. Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, will sit down or has sat down with CNN's Dana Bash. Pre-recorded interview will air at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on CNN. The Harris campaign has defended the decision, pointing to a precedent of presidential candidates on both sides of the aisle answering questions together with their running mates. Here's a quote from Kevin Munoz, who's the campaign spokesman. For at least 20 years, every ticket, Republican and Democrat, sat for a joint interview, unquote. Okay, that's true. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance sat down with a correspondent for an interview. This is fine. I really don't have any problem with that. But we're not electing Tim Walz to the vice presidency. We're electing Kamala Harris to the presidency. And she should sit there alone. And she should deal with things. Donald Trump has been alone on most, if not nearly every one of his interviews. J.D. Vance has sat down alone. Kamala Harris missed a golden opportunity to sit down by herself with a friendly reporter on a friendly network and go through all this stuff alone. I don't know why Tim Walz is there. I don't have any idea. Now, there's also the first of two columns written by Chris Brennan that I want to communicate with you. Okay? So check this out. This is opinion, so that's why we're over here. This is from Chris Brennan from USA Today. Vice President Kamala Harris has faced a barrage of questions in the more than 5 weeks since she became a presidential candidate about when she will sit down for a major interview or hold a press conference. It will finally come tonight. She's scheduled to be interviewed by Dana Bash. The presidential election is unlike any America has seen in recent memory, with President Joe Biden dropping his bid for a second term on July 21st, which was predicted by me months ago. I mean, months and maybe over a year ago. And endorsing Harris, who launched a reconfigured campaign in a compressed calendar. Things were bound to be different, unconventional, even a bit odd. Even so, does the Democrat nominee really need her running mate present in her first major interview, absorbing some of the spotlight for at least one evening that should have been focused at the top of the ticket? That's a great question by Chris Brennan. It's absolutely the best thing she could have done for herself. Why didn't she? Why did she need Tim Walz there? I mean, unless she's planning on co-presidency with Tim Walz. Is that what she's planning? I mean, is Tim Walz going to be Kamala Harris's work husband? I mean, when you consider that the word husband means manager, that has bad connotations for Kamala Harris. And once again, this is just my opinion. If you disagree, then by all means, share your disagreement. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. I just want to hear what you have to say. So did Harris tell CNN that Walz was going to be a part of the production, or did CNN pitch the joint interview on its own? CNN did not respond when Chris Brennan asked. He asked Tuesday, then again on Wednesday. The Harris campaign Wednesday told me that joint interviews are historically common in presidential races, and noted it had made that pretty obvious point earlier in the day on social media. Well, the voters get a vote. You know, and those of us who are sitting here going, why is she sitting down with Tim Walz unless this is going to be a co-presidency? Is that really what she wants to put out there? I don't think so. And so Chris Brennan asks a very good question. Now, what are your thoughts? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. And then there is another column by Chris Brennan that I also want to share with you. Being the running mate on Donald Trump's presidential ticket has always required a certain flexibility with truth and accuracy. Bias much there, Chris, but that's okay. It's an opinion piece. You get to be biased. You do. That's where bias is okay, as long as you don't say it's news. And to their credit, USA Today makes this abundantly clear that this is opinion. Good. But U.S. Senator J.D. Vance, the Republican from Ohio, now running to be Trump's next vice president, stretched the truth well beyond the breaking point twice this month while introducing the former one-term president at rallies. Vance, in both speeches, echoed the conspiracy theories that cropped up right after Trump survived an assassination attempt at a rally in Pennsylvania last month. They are the new villain in Trump world, says Chris Brennan, as in they tried to kill him. But who are they? The speeches provide plenty of clues, even as the Trump campaign dodged any attempt to get clarification on who Vance was talking about. Vance, while introducing Trump at a rally in North Carolina last week, cast his would-be boss in Trump's favorite role of victim. Okay, this is just, axe grinding by Chris Brennan. He traded everything for an unjust prosecution, for slander, for scorn, so that we could save the United States of America. Now they couldn't beat him at the ballot box, so they tried to bankrupt him. They failed at that, so they tried to impeach him. They failed at that, so they tried to put him in prison. They even tried to kill him. Okay, and then Chris makes a mistake in this column. He says, if you haven't guessed by now, they are the Democrat Party. I tallied 5 lies and all that, they being the newest and most insidious deception. Okay? Trump and his team falsely portray any attempt to hold him accountable in civil and criminal court as unjust. Has anybody ever gone after a president like this? No, never. It's unjust. President Joe Biden defeated Trump at the ballot box in 2020, even if Trump's mangled ego can't bear to accept it. How do you know, Chris? How do you know? Nobody has ever gone back through those elections and tried to figure out just exactly why the ballot counting curves went crazy in the middle of the night after Election Day. Nobody's actually investigated it, Chris. You don't know that that's true. That's why the conspiracy theory's out there, because we don't know. Now, the Republicans could have investigated those elections anytime they wanted to by putting together a congressional commission or a committee to look into it. But they didn't. You can understand, how the Democrats do business. They put together a commission, a committee of some sort. They get a couple of Trump-hating Republicans on it for, I guess, credibility. I don't know. That the committee has no credibility with me. And then you cherry pick all the evidence you possibly can to make Trump look as bad as humanly possible. Now that's politics. But that wasn't an investigation. It was a cobbled up, semi-prosecutorial mess. They should have done that straight and clean and clear. It would have had more effect, especially if they had real evidence. But something tells me they didn't. And so they manufactured it by dropping things, editing things, cherry picking things, etc. And then when somebody said, okay, let me look at all that paperwork, they lost it. Really? Of course, they didn't lose it. But once again, did the Republican Party go after that information? No. No. Have you even heard anything about the subcommittee on the weaponization of government in months? So Chris Brennan thinks that the they that J.D. Vance is talking about, as in they tried to kill him, is the Democrat Party. No, that's not who tried to kill him. And that takes us seamlessly to the deep state. There was a guy named Peter Strzok. He used to work for the FBI. He got fired by the Office of Professional Accountability. Lisa Page was his buddy. And in a text exchange, Lisa Page asks Peter Strzok, he's not going to win, is he? And Peter Strzok comes back with, no, there's an insurance policy. When that happened, I said, okay, what's the insurance policy, Mr. Strzok? What is that insurance policy? And that happened years ago. What's the insurance policy, Peter? Was it all this lawfare? Was that what it is? I don't think so. And at the time, I asked this question. Is that the same insurance policy that was cashed in 1963 on November 22nd? When another populist president got his head blown off in broad daylight in Dallas, Texas. The they that J.D. Vance is talking about and won't clarify is the deep state. And they found this supposedly mentally compromised guy to get up there on a roof and start shooting. Just exactly how did he afford all of the stuff he had, including debt cord? Debt cord is military. They don't use debt cord anywhere. Well, actually, they do. They use debt cord in the demolition of buildings. But you've got to have a license to buy it. Did Thomas Matthew Crooks have that license? No. So if he possessed it without that documentation, there are obviously other people involved in this, aren't there? If there are other people involved, there's a conspiracy. And so far, the FBI and the Secret Service have not given us any information about this guy. We are expected to believe that the Secret Service is incompetent, that they just blew the calls on keeping President Donald Trump safe. That doesn't fly. Is it a setup by omission? We don't know. How are those investigations going? We don't know. And if indeed the deep state is involved, will we ever know? The first appearance of the deep state may have appeared in the Warren Commission report on the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Is that what we're going to get this time? Will there be some bright young lawyer? Arlen Specter was the one in the Warren Commission that came up with the magic bullet theory that explained how one bullet could get two people because the shots don't add up. Is that where we're headed again? Kamala Harris was talking about how President Trump questioned her race, her racial background, and she said, same old tired playbook. So is the deep state running their same old tired playbook? What would have happened if Thomas Matthew Crooks hadn't missed? What would that investigation be like? So they, Chris, is not the Democrat Party. They is the deep state. And this kid's got tradecraft written all over him. And who taught him how to do that? This is the Wells Report. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Valleyata.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. Telephone number is 817-379-2172. I asked, why was Tim Walz at that interview with Dana Bash from CNN that you're going to see tonight in your time zone, depending on where you are? It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time. So you can see for yourself. I said on that, is she going to do a co-presidency with Tim Walz? Is that why her first interview was with her vice presidential candidate? And then Yvonne said, well, everybody thinks she's co-presidenting with Soros, Obama, etc. That's my Yvonne. Let's see. Co-president would be giving her way too much credit. Okay. Earache 702, and I don't believe I know you, but thanks for joining us here on the Wells Report. Let's see. The implication that Kamala Harris can't handle an interview by herself, I find that ludicrous. Okay, well, I'm not the one that brought it up. I mean, I'm not the one that brought up her not being able to handle an interview by herself. She's the one that did that. Also, Eric Manly Man. Dear friend of mine, know this guy. He and I are on different parts of the political spectrum, but I love him. He's my brother. And he says the implication that Kamala can't handle the interview by herself, I find that ludicrous. Well, okay. All right. And by the way, the Earache 702 and Eric Mann are different people. I think Earache 702 was trying to say something, or maybe it is the same. I don't know. Earache are you Earache? Are you Eric? Is that who you are? Anyway, don't you think the myriad of defeats suffered in the nation's courts by Trump were enough to get him out of the race? Apparently not. He's right there in all the polling. It's a dead heat in most cases, or within the margin of error. And all I can say is, do you think the myriad of defeats suffered? Well, there's not really a myriad. He suffered one defeat. Maybe two. I think it's only one. And you are innocent until proven guilty by the state. So there you go. And the one that he was found guilty of was a civil thing. And that's not criminal. And the criminal cases have big problems. So we'll see. But everybody, you've got your opportunity to think what you will. So maybe Earache 702 and Eric Mann are the same guy. I don't know. Earache 702, Earache. Yeah. 702, by the way, is the area code for Las Vegas, which is where Eric lives. Are you being witty, Eric? Ha! You crazy man, you. Love the guy. Now, speaking of lawfare, the Republican-led House Judiciary Committee has subpoenaed a progressive campaign company in an ongoing political battle over Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump's criminal conviction. So it's one. So it's only one. Committee Chairman Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio wrote Wednesday to the founder of the Authentic Campaigns, or the founder of Authentic Campaigns, the name of the company, to argue for the compulsion of previously requested information that could aid the oversight of Trump's New York criminal case. The daughter of Judge Juan Merchan, who presided over the New York hush money trial, works at Authentic Campaigns. Popularly elected prosecutors, such as Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, have engaged in an unprecedented abuse of authority by prosecuting a former president of the United States and current nominee for that office, the letter says. Of relevance to the committee's oversight is the impartiality of Judge Juan Merchan, the presiding trial judge, due to his refusal to recuse himself from the case in light of his apparent conflicts of interests and biases. Authentic Campaigns did not respond to USA Today and their request for comment, but founder Mike Nellis on X called the subpoena a politically motivated intimidation tactic. So why would Mike Nellis, the founder of Authentic Campaigns, call that subpoena a politically motivated intimidation tactic? Because it's a politically motivated intimidation tactic. One of the problems with lawfare, especially when it comes to politics, is that if it actually works, you keep seeing it. You keep seeing it. And so, do we want more lawfare or do we want less? This subpoena of the person who employs Judge Juan Merchan's daughter to come and testify before the House Oversight Committee is political intimidation. There are a whole bunch of people that think that lawfare is just plain unfair and real wrong. I'm one of them, especially when it's political. And it doesn't make it okay if you happen to be a Republican going after a Democrat. It sure as hell isn't okay when you're a Democrat going after a Republican. And on this broadcast, we call a shovel a shovel. I looked at that and I said, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? So today was kind of political mistakes on parade. Kamala Harris saying that her values haven't changed, but her policies have. So she's going to enact policies if she's president that are contrary to her values. Uh-oh. And now the Republicans going after the workplace of Juan Merchan's daughter with a subpoena, which is legal, making it lawfare. Two dumb, unforced errors. Dumb, unforced errors. And we happen to be the recipients / victims of all of it. Boy, I'm really looking forward to this election year being over. I really am. This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. If you've got access to the chat, by all means, do it. If you don't, get access to the chat or call me on the phone, 817-379-2172. Back in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We do depropagandize the mainstream media here, and you can help. Tell you how in just a minute. We also make commentary. Commentary is not news. People who sit up behind mics like this, in studios like this, and believe their opinions to be newsworthy are maniacs. I do not believe that my opinions are newsworthy. They're just my opinions. They're just like yours, or maybe different, but they're still opinions. Let's compare them. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. You can call me on the telephone and tell me what you think. Just be nice, okay? Just be nice, be civil. You know, we're not getting into a shouting match. Arguments are boring. Let's just have a discussion. Tell me what you think. There are a lot of people out there that say, well, you know, Kamala Harris this or Donald Trump that, and so on from different perspectives. We've got to have those perspectives. We do. And normally, you would be able to see some of that on free speech outlets like X, where this broadcast is being put out as we speak. But there are a lot of people that use F-bombs and so on and so forth in arguments and put people down and question their mentality and so on on X, and it's tiresome. It destroys your point whenever you question somebody's mentality when they disagree with you politically. You're losing the argument. That's just the way it is. So what you need to do is you need to just say, hey, here's what I think. No F-bombs. That's what I mean by being civil. Let's actually talk about it. 817-379-2172, or you can go to the chat room. I'm waiting for you. So, to mute or not to mute? That is the question. Whether it is nobler and the whatever it is, hearts and mind, whatever. To suffer the slings and arrows of muting microphones or not is what we're discussing. It's another one of these political hand grenade fragments that we have to deal with, but it's an important one. Next month, there will be a debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. The Associated Press reports that there won't be an audience, live microphones when candidates are not speaking, or written notes. Those are according to the rules that ABC News, the host network, shared this week with both campaigns. A copy of the rules was provided to the Associated Press on Thursday by a, quote, senior Trump campaign official on condition of anonymity. Why would the Trump campaign issue the rules from a senior staff member on the condition of anonymity? Just put the damn thing out there. Donald Trump should have put the rules out there. Just put the rules out there. Hey, this is what we agreed to. Done. Donald Trump could have done that. But why are people playing games with us? Especially, well, they're not playing games with us. They're playing games with the mainstream media. Don't play games. Just do it. Wouldn't it be nice if people would quit hiding behind anonymity and just give information out. Well, I'd lose my career. Well, maybe if you'd lose your career by putting that information out, maybe you shouldn't be putting that information out. You see, that's a check and balance in a country of checks and balances. You know, if you're just trying to create a mess, yeah, you can do so under the condition of anonymity. That's why whenever any of this stuff comes up, a senior campaign official said on the condition of anonymity. I sit there and go, okay, it's bogus, but here it is anyway, because it's bogus. Anyway, that's a rant. I'll get back to the story. So, the official rules were put out by this vaporous dude with no guts, or gal with no guts. And the Harris campaign, as a matter of fact, it was today, said they're still discussing the mutings of the microphones with ABC. Okay. So they agreed to the debate, but now we're trying to change the rules. Really? Why? Again, this gets back to the same kind of thing that I'm talking about. Why are we trying to be so secretive and ulterior? Why are we trying to do that? Well, I don't know, but I'm getting tired of it, and I bet you are too. Mute the mics. Don't mute the mics. I don't care. I believe that Kamala Harris is looking for one moment with an unmuted microphone in front of Donald Trump. And that's so she can look at him archly and say, I am speaking. Don't do it. Don't do it. Donald Trump, and he is not disciplined. If indeed his microphone was on, I would just assume, Mr. President, that you should assume that it's off. Don't say a word. If Kamala Harris is in front of a live microphone, and if ABC didn't give her all the questions ahead of time, then she'll take care of any kind of debate goal you have to have. This is based on my assumption, not my assumption, my analysis of her unscripted answers to the press. From all the way back when she first started running for president last time. All you got to do is let her talk. Why would you want to interrupt her? You don't want to interrupt her. And by the way, the people of the United States don't want you to interrupt her either, because they really do need to hear what she has to say, sir. So, shh. But that's what it looks like to me. For this one moment of saying, I am speaking, okay, that's not a big enough win to have this ridiculous food fight going on about whether the microphones are going to be muted or not. That's just my opinion. If you got a different one, 817-379-2172. The parameters are now in place for the September 10th debate. They are essentially the same as they were for the June debate between President Trump and President Joe Biden. And the AP goes on to say it was a disastrous performance for the incumbent Democrat that fueled his exit from the campaign. Okay, whatever. That's past news. That's old news. Harris's campaign has advocated for live microphones for the entire debate, saying in a statement the practice would, quote, fully allow for substantive changes or exchanges between the candidates, unquote. Well, unless it devolves into a giant argument where nobody can understand anything. And maybe that's what she's looking for. Maybe what she wants to do is she wants to get into an argument with Donald Trump where both of them are speaking and nobody can understand what's going on because she doesn't want to talk about her policies. I know that sounds partisan, but that's out there. I'm analyzing the news, okay? I'm just telling you what I think. And so, what is the real story? Well, we may not ever know. Representatives for Trump, who initially scoffed at the substitution of Harris into a debate arrangement he initially made with Biden in the race, had claimed that Harris sought a, quote, seated debate with notes and opening statements, specifications her campaign denied. According to ABC News, the candidates will stand behind lecterns, will not make opening statements, will not be allowed to bring notes during the 90-minute debate. David Muir, who is very good, and Lindsay Davis will moderate the event at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. The only thing that's out there, and we've seen it before, How many theatrics are going to be tossed at this debate by ABC, which is a division of Disney? What's going to happen? Remember, the January 6th committee meetings were all choreographed by a former ABC News executive. They are tight. They are tight. The Democrat Party is tight with ABC. That's why Donald Trump didn't want the network to have anything to do with the debate. That's a fact of life. But what if those questions are given to Kamala Harris beforehand? Then we won't get genuine Kamala Harris. We will get carefully manicured Kamala Harris, if she can pull it off. And by the way, that's not good for Kamala Harris or the people of the United States. I have from time to time spoken directly. He does never hear it, I'm sure. I've spoken directly to Donald Trump. Well, now I'm speaking to Kamala Harris. Madam Vice President, stop running from what you've said. If you run from it, if you do things like you did that we've already seen in this interview with CNN, where you say, well, my policies have changed, but my core values haven't, that is not the right answer, ma'am. They are going to beat you over the head with all of those loose statements that you've made years ago. And it could very possibly cost you the election. And all of this sudden polling that shows Kamala Harris, defeating Donald Trump when it comes to economics, just exactly who is running those polls and what questions are they asking? I'm pretty sure that the questions that they are asking don't match up with the headlines from the polling that the polling generates. And we don't know that information. In other words, this is a gigantic ulterior game. And there's only one way to break through it, Ms. Harris. And that's just to tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. If it wasn't for the fact that the Democrat Party absolutely interfered with the primary season in 2020, when think of this. It's nuts on its face. When a full-on socialist, when Bernie Sanders was winning primaries, if you put all that progressive stuff out there, you might find an audience for it. Is that audience big enough to win the presidency? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that if you try to fool people into voting for you, it will turn out badly. Just be yourself, Ms. Vice President. Come on, just be yourself. That way you don't have to defend all of these loose statements from years ago. Just stand for them. Stand tall before the American people and tell people, as Michelle Obama referred to it, your truth. If you don't want people driving gasoline cars after a certain amount of time, fine, say it. If you want America to if you want to bankrupt the American people with not having access to reasonable energy prices, say it. If you want to do price fixing to get the graft and corruption or the price gouging out of corporate America, say so. But at least tell the truth. Just tell the truth. We'll know more after the interview, and we'll report that dutifully here on the Wells Report. Okay? We will. We'll go through it soup to nuts tomorrow. But people have too much information. They've got access to too much information. Except from, the government of the United States. They don't give us any information. That's why we still don't have any idea what went on in Butler, Pennsylvania last month. Or month before last. And so here we are, being pushed around, manipulated, and basically lied to by not just the evil Democrat Party if you're a Republican, or the evil Republican Party if you're a Democrat, by the entire government. I've had a belly full of it. How about you? Let me know. Or am I just wrong? This is the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare.
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. I am John David Wells. While we're on the subject of dumb political moves, here's another one. Vice President Harris's campaign co-chair Mitch Landrieu on Wednesday, that would be yesterday, mocked former President Trump over the microphone muting issue at the upcoming presidential debate, saying his own team, quote, wants to shut him up, unquote. He was on Morning Joe, so there are no guardrails, especially to the left. You know, I find it so interesting that we're fighting about the fact that his own team wants to shut him up. I don't know if I've ever heard that before in the debates and the rules of debates. Mitch, that's not a helpful statement. It's not. His team doesn't want to shut him up. If his team wanted to shut him up, we would see a different Donald Trump. Now, he has moderated. He's gotten better. He's more presidential than he used to be. But is he as presidential as, say, I don't know, anybody but Joe Biden? Pick a president, anybody but Joe Biden. He's sure as hell not as presidential as Barack Obama. But then again, he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's used to saying what he thinks. He thinks what he says. He says what he thinks. And there is not much of a filter there. And so, no, the Trump team does not want to shut up Donald Trump, Mitch Landrieu. And you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You know, there has been so much negative press and so many negative things about Donald Trump said over and over and over again. New ones made up every day, hoax after hoax. That when you say stuff like that, what you're doing is you're inviting disaster. And I said this before, when President Biden came up with Bidenomics, I said, oops, that's a mistake. Because what you did was tied yourself to an outlandish inflation rate that is essentially rendering the American people broke. And it's got your name on it. What are you doing? You call it Bidenomics when gasoline is $1.67 and we are energy independent and the border is closed, so we don't have a whole bunch of people that'll work for nothing, pressing the price of labor down to, nothing. If that's what you want, that's how you do it. But of course, that's not what they want. They want to control energy. They want to control food. They want to control medical care. They want to control all the bulwarks. They want to control the press. They want to control your speech. That's not the United States of America. And all of those things are documented time and time and time again. They need to break away from that. They need to be a part of a government that works for the people of the United States instead of in spite of them. And what you're doing is you're infuriating half of the electorate. You are. 74 million people voted for this guy last time. You have to convince those people that there's a better choice. You don't do that by telling these people, the 74 million people who voted for him, that they are idiots and don't know what they're doing. In this interview, Mitch Landrieu says that Donald Trump is unhinged. You're talking to 74 million people, and that's something that I've been trying to get across for years at this point. When you slap around a populist president, you're not slapping the guy who's actually running for the office. You're slapping the people that voted for him. And 74 million people voted for him last time. That was the biggest number for a sitting president in the history of the United States. And you're poking the bear? Mitch, you gotta look at this a different way. Because you're about an inch and a half away from using the word deplorables. And we know what happened last time that word was issued in a presidential campaign, don't we? Back with more in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Hi, John David Wells at your service. This broadcast normally airs between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Central Time, but I have to move it around. Got a day job, and I'm working from very early in the morning until the early afternoon, and I need to sit down and veg for a minute before I start diving into this broadcast. And that, I mean, this is a 2-hour show. I work at least twice that just getting ready for it. Okay, so I really work at this. Okay. So Ford Motor Company made a decision. It came out today, and it was everywhere. You may have heard about it already. I don't know. But USA Today reports the story like this. Ford Motor Company told employees it will no longer participate in an annual survey from the LGBTQ advocacy group and would not use quotas for minority dealerships and suppliers, the latest company to make changes to its diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI initiatives as corporate America faces growing pressure from a conservative activist whose anti-DEI campaign is gaining momentum. It's not, and this guy is Robbie Starbuck. We talked about him yesterday. It's not because of him. I'll tell you what I think in a few minutes. We are mindful that our employees and customers hold a wide range of beliefs, Ford CEO Jim Farley wrote in an internal email shared with USA Today by Robbie Starbuck. The external and legal environment related to political and social issues continues to evolve. The external and legal environment related to political and social issues continues to evolve. Is that corporate gobbledygook or not? Yes. Yes, it is. When reached for comment, Ford told USA Today the communication to our global employees speaks for itself. We have nothing further to add. There, a nice straightforward statement. So Starbucks said he was investigating Ford's DEI policies before the carmaker's announcement this week. Starbucks claimed credit when the home improvement chain Lowe's scaled back its DEI initiatives when he launched a campaign against Lowe's rival Home Depot. Ford said it will no longer take part in the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equity Index or Equality Index and Best Places to Work surveys. It also opened its employee research group to all workers. It's unclear how extensive the changes to Ford's overall DEI policies and programs will be. They don't know. Starbuck wrote on X, "Hey, this isn't everything, but it's a great start." Okay. Human Rights Campaign President Kelly Robinson said the organization, quote, could not be more disappointed to see Ford Motor Company shirking its responsibility to its employees, customers, and shareholders. By failing to support women leaders, employees of color, and LGBTQ plus employees, Ford Motor Company is abandoning its financial duty to recruit and keep top talent from across the full talent pool. In making their purchasing decisions, consumers should take note that Ford Motor Company has abandoned its commitment to our communities. Lowe's and Ford Motor Company adopted preemptive changes before Starbuck rallied his social media followers to boycott the companies. We're now forcing multi-billion-dollar organizations to change their policies without even posting, just from fear they have of being the next company that we expose. Starbuck told USA Today that he does not release details of his campaigns ahead of time, but incremental change like at Ford will not affect our focus on pursuing larger change. In a nation driven by cultural issues around race, gender, and family, Starbuck belongs to a new wave of agitators pressuring corporate America to back off commitments to DEI, climate change, and issues affecting LGBTQ plus people. Emboldened by a Supreme Court decision last year, banning affirmative action at the college level, conservative activists like anti-affirmative action crusader Edward Blum and former Trump administration official Stephen Miller have taken aim at the private sector with a wave of legal challenges against companies, lawfare anyone, government agencies, and nonprofits. Starbuck turns to his nearly 600,000 ex-followers to generate outrage and put pressure on corporations. A series of companies including Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley Davidson, Jack Daniel's Whiskey, and or the maker of Jack Daniel's Whiskey, Brown-Forman, have made changes to DEI programs after scrutiny from Starbuck. Farley sits on Harley Davidson's board. John Deere CEO John May sits on Ford's board. Yeah, it's a club, and you're not in it, said George Carlin years ago. Publicly, most business leaders who made commitments following the 2020 murder of George Floyd say they remain dedicated to DEI, but privately they are scrutinizing their investments and backing away from initiatives like hiring Target's conservatives claim. Okay, take two. They are backing away from initiatives like hiring Target's conservatives claim are illegal quotas. In other words, they're going after a particular kind of person instead of the person they should be going after. And that takes me to the point I want to make. Competition is the crucible of excellence. Competition is the crucible of excellence. Competition forces people who embark on a competitive employment road. Nice tie-in with the Cars Road. Get that? No, okay. Anyway, excellence is what made America America. Not Robbie Starbuck threatening boycotts. Excellence. You see, it all starts with taking the emphasis away from excellence and putting it on things that will get you through college with a degree that doesn't mean anything. And we know that there are millions of people with college degrees that mean nothing. How do we know? Well, the government's trying to bail these people out with their college loans because they can't get a job. And they can't get a job because of all of this nonsense. When you go to college, you learn how to apply the things that you've learned. That's the way it works. And the application of what you've learned in a new, novel, and profitable way is the competition that I'm referring to, and therefore the excellence that I am referring to. America was built on excellence. It wasn't built on DEI quotas. You don't force women into high positions, LGBTQ people into high positions. You don't force that. All that stuff is earned. Earned. Is there sexism? Yeah. Yeah. Is there misogyny? Sure. Is there an intrinsic bias against LGBTQ plus people? Yep. There is less bias when it comes to people of minority races, etc., but it's still there. And you can sit there and go, I'm being put upon. I'm being put upon. I'm a gay female. How come I'm not running forward? You're not running forward because you haven't come up with a perfect car yet. And while you're whining, and I'm not just applying that to females, it's everybody. It's everybody that will accept grievance instead of achievement, and whining about whether or not they're moving up because, well, I sleep with the right people. Look, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, no matter what the color of your skin is, or your gender, or your sex, if you come up with the best idea, you will win. Period. Denzel Washington is one of my favorite actors. He's brilliant. I haven't seen him do a bad movie yet. Not one. Why? Well, because he picks his materials very, very well. And his characterizations of the people that are on the script pages is without compare. The guy is just that good. And he has won Oscars. But there are a lot of people in that industry that haven't won Oscars. And they're believing somehow that a virulent leftist Hollywood wouldn't hand out an Oscar to somebody in a supported group based on things that have nothing to do with acting. And so they say, well, the Oscars are bigoted. Denzel Washington said, no, the Oscars are looking for better acting. And he's right. Excellence. Excellence. Do you have to work harder? Yeah. Do you have to be more brilliant? Yep. Do you have to abandon grievance and start chasing achievement? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. If you're listening and you're in high school, listen to what I'm saying. Excellence is a choice. Brilliant achievement is a choice. Sorry about this movie reference, but it's a great example. You know, Forrest Gump in the movie, and I know it's a movie, did a lot of really brilliant things based on simplicity because he was simple. And yes, there was luck involved, but there was also a steady work ethic to move forward. And one thing after another. I mean, that movie lifted off the screen and into real life. You could go out and probably still can buy a Bubba Gump baseball hat today. I think I have one lying around the house somewhere. In other words, if you want to succeed, you got to work at it. And a steady work ethic and a willingness to see things that may not necessarily be obvious to everybody else is how you win. Jeff Bezos, Amazon. That wasn't his original idea. I mean, that idea isn't original to Jeff Bezos. There was an Amazon before there was Amazon. And you know what it was? Sears, Roebuck and Company. They put out these catalogs. And you'd find something in the catalog and you'd order it and they'd send it to you. Isn't it strange? Instead of going to a book, you now go to this. And you look up Amazon and you find a product you want and you order it and they mail it to you. They'll deliver it to you. But Sears, Roebuck and Company had it first. But they were so caught up in their own corporate stuff that somebody said, I can do that better. And by golly, he could. And by golly, he did. He had a better tool. He had the internet instead of the postal service. But Jeff Bezos, and he's a billionaire. But did he come up with Amazon out of whole cloth? Nope. He improved on somebody else's work and scored. He looked at things a different way. He perceived that it was time for him to achieve. Instead of, well, people don't like bald guys. I can't get ahead because I'm a bald guy. And no, he got to work. And you can too. Everything you do can be excellent. And I guarantee you, if it is, if you take the challenge of competition, believing it to be the crucible of success and excellence, then you will win. And you won't have to have somebody else pay off your college loans. You can do it yourself. I've done a lot of different jobs. I'm working for a security company now. I've been at the highest heights of radio. But when I go to work every day, I'm chasing excellence. I'm chasing doing that job better than anybody else ever had done that job. And I'm trying to bring as many people along with me as I can. Somebody's going to notice one of these days. And once I get through all the people that are threatened by me chasing excellence, and there are a bunch of those that will absolutely sabotage you, but that means you just have to work harder. I guarantee you, you will win. It doesn't make any difference what you're doing. You do it to the best of your ability. You do it to the best of your ability, and you pursue excellence, and excellence will be visited upon you.
Vallarta.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. Thanks for being with us today. And once again, if you find value in this broadcast, subscribe to it on the platform you're watching it on. Send it to your friends. Share it. Ask them to subscribe. Hit the notification buttons because, yeah, I got a day job and the show moves every now and then, but we do it every day. And as soon as I get to a steady schedule, this will settle down. All right. So you can depend on when the show is going to be on the air. And yeah, I know it's a problem, but I got to make a living. And if you want to help me make a living, buy from the advertisers that advertise on this broadcast. If you believe that they've got a deal you want to take advantage of, give them a call. Use those telephone numbers. Or go to patreon.com/The Wells Report, patreon.com/The Wells Report, and send me a couple of bucks every so often, like once a month. Just a couple of bucks. Just don't. I appreciate bigger gifts, but just a couple of bucks would be just fine. So I was talking about competition, and I was talking about excellence. I do not know what kind of student Caitlin Clark was when she was going to Iowa, but she was one of the best college basketball players to ever walk on a court. She set all kinds of records. She's moved into the WNBA. She's making about $75,000 a year. That's all she's making. But she's playing a sport that she's incredibly good at. But there are problems. Remember when I was talking about You know, if you happen to be one of the protected classes in the United States, you're a minority, you're LGBTQ, you're a female, et cetera, et cetera. Remember, I told you that there are people there that want to sabotage you? Well, it's true. And they don't want to sabotage you because you're a great basketball player. They want to sabotage you because you've got the wrong color skin or you don't go to the right church or what have you. Take a look at this. I don't know whether you can you see? Yeah, you can see my mouse. This right here, this is Caitlin Clark. This is Alyssa Thomas. She is the center of the team that she plays for. In other words, she's one of the biggest people on the court. This happened last night. Now, note that Caitlin Clark right here is guarding this player who is coming around this center. It's called a pick play. You can, after you set a pick, what you do is you just get in the way of the player. Okay, you get in the way of the player, which brings this person out in the open, and they can either pass the ball or they can shoot from the top of what this is called the key. They can shoot from the top of the key, a three-pointer or what have you. By the way, in this particular game, Caitlin Clark set the rookie record in the WNBA for more three-pointers than anyone. All right? So, Alyssa Thomas, the center. This is the person that Caitlin Clark is guarding. And watch what happens on this pick play. Boom. Now, Alyssa Thomas put her shoulder right under the chin of Caitlin Clark. That could have been a horrendous injury. Caitlin Clark represents something that the WNBA has never had, and that is popularity. People are actually watching the WNBA more now than they ever have, and yeah, it's because of Caitlin Clark. Is it because she's a great basketball player? I would like to think so. Is it because she's white? No. It's because she's a great basketball player. But the prevailing attitude in the WNBA is that, hey, we've been this good. She's not any better than we are. We're the best of the best of the best. And so what they've done is they have taken pieces out of Caitlin Clark all season. They've knocked her down. Flagrant fouls and this mess right here. So WNBA, remember I was talking about people that will sabotage you? Did I remember I was talking about Sears Roebuck and Company that were so enamored with their own political or their own corporate ethos that Jeff Bezos took their idea and beat them out of business with it? The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark. They need to guard her well, but they don't need to blast her to the floor so that the rest of the girls think you're, taking care of this upstart rookie. Caitlin Clark is a great basketball player. She's bringing things to the game that you haven't seen before. Sabotaging Caitlin Clark, doing one of these things, giving her a concussion, for example, so that she has to sit out for half the season is not going to help you. It's not going to help you. It's going to hurt your sport. So what are you trying to do? What, do you just want to play pickup games at the college gym with nobody in the stands? Or do you want to have a bona fide superstar playing in the league that draws people to your game? Just exactly what are you selling here? Are you selling excellent basketball? Or are you trying to sell that we're just better than some white girl? You got to decide. People are walking away from DEI practices because of stuff just like that. Help yourselves. Don't get out of her way. Play hard basketball with her. But stop knocking her on her personage. This has been the Wells Report. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow at 5 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone. Until then, take good care. Thanks again for being here. Take good care. Be safe. Make great decisions. And I'll see you tomorrow.